Hey, Dr. Ash.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Doing good. Just getting settled in.
Work, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm actually just getting home as well.
Nice. I catch you at a good time?
What's that?
I said, did I catch you at a good time?
No, yeah, actually, I just went to my house, so you caught me at a good time. Hold on.
Okay.
Turn that off here, and I'll tell you, I'll go over a little template with you, and I kind of have this, we kind of did this role playing with our staff, and we kind of basically, we do it with the people that answer. We have two people that answer our desk at the front desk. So basically, what you would do is basically just what you can just basically kind of be like you just called me and basically said, hey, this is so and so, and I'm interested in getting an appointment. And this is kind of how the sequence goes. We basically have a greeting, and we basically say, like I said, if you had just called me, I would say, Walker Dental Group, this is Dr. Walker, how may I help you? And then at that point in time, you're going to pretty much say, what you're calling about as far as, wanting an appointment or wanting your family to come in. Second part of the call is going to be something kind of along the lines like, when was the last time you were in our office? And let me be the first one to welcome you. If it's a new patient, you basically kind of start a conversation that way. And then from there, you basically kind of try to take control of the conversation with the patient. And you basically start asking questions like, well, how did you hear about our office? And, do you have friends who have come to Walker Dental Group? Or, tell me a little bit about how you found out about our office. Let them answer that question. Then once they basically, have expressed interest, and they definitely are going to come in for an appointment, then you kind of still take control of the call, and you basically say, do you prefer mornings or afternoons? And then from there, you go ahead and give them at least 3 or 4 dates that they can come in. Let them answer that. And then at the end of the call, you basically, once you've made the appointment, you kind of do what we call a data capture, where you say, great, and may I have your full name and a best contact number, so that way you can follow up with them with a phone call after, they've called you that initial time.
Right.
And then what we do too is we have call tracking. We use a system called Weave in our office, and so it tracks all of the phone calls. And then from that, once that patient calls and once they're entered into our computer system, it'll actually show their name with that number, and their information pops up on our screen, so we know exactly who they are.
Yeah, we use a system called CallRail. Is the name of that. And then for text notifications and text messages, we use a thing called ClickSend.
Okay.
And that allows you to, freely message back and forth through text messages with the client and actually receive the text message.
And so the reason we use Weave is we replaced before we had AT&T. Well, Weave is a texting and telephone system, so it basically is about half the cost of what we were paying for AT&T, but yet you get all those features with texting. It calls the patient, it sends out reminders, it actually goes in and sends out automated birthday messages, so you can customize it to do anything you want to any group of patients that you want to go to. You could say set the parameters to only send out to people that were a certain age group, and it'll send out a mass text message to those people.
Nice.
And so at the end of this, we do we call the confirm or the commit. And it says, so what we normally do is once we've got that appointment set in stone, we'll say, great, the doctor and our team have reserved, Tuesday, June the 2nd for you. Should an emergency arise, please call us. And my name is blah, 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 and let me know at least 48 hours in advance so that we will be able to, fill an appointment in case you're not able to come, to have time to be able to fill that appointment for somebody else.
Right.
So we kind of, like I say, we have this template that we go through with every single call. And we do the same thing with our people that take the phone home at night, so that it's consistent, and so those same questions are always asked as far as, trying to capture that new patient, that we've got like a standardized way. And also too, you always want to keep that new patient call under, it's a 4-minute rule, so you always do not want to be stuck on the phone for more than 4 minutes, because at that point in time, you're losing other calls, and then possibly having someone that's trying to check out, or actually this person checks in.
Right.
So we try to keep those calls under 4 minutes.
Gotcha. And what was the name of the system, the program that you had paid for, you said? The 60, 70 grand a year you were paying for the training?
Oh, it's Scheduling Institute.
Yep.
Is
Okay.
the name of that company.
Yeah, I was talking to my dental hygienist and her and one of the other doctors in the office earlier about some of the things with the events and whatnot, and I was mentioning that, and she's I couldn't think of the name, and I think she said that exact same one.
Yep, it's called Scheduling Institute, and like I said, they're all over the country. They've probably got several hundred trainers that go out to different offices, and they have another staff they have hygienists, they have front office people that are trainers, they have assistants, and they have dentists that are on staff as well that go in when on some of the longer trainings. They'll actually go into an office and spend 4 or 5 days and go over every single system. They'll go from the time the patient enters to the time the patient leaves, as far as taking them through the office, making sure everything's done efficiently, making sure that the appointment times are set up correctly to maximize the amount of revenue that you can produce per day on each chair. Another big thing they do is they teach you that each day that you figure out what your average daily revenue for each room is. So it's going to be different for hygiene. It's going to be different between doctor rooms, because
Right.
you may have an overflow room that's not going to have as much revenue. And so kind of put all these things together and come up with, what you, as for your goals, like what you have to bring in each day in order to pay your bills, and then the amounts tiered up from there that you're actually becoming a profitable business.
Gotcha. Yep. Track everything. That's smart. Like you say, you want to know your numbers for sure.
You got to know your numbers. That's exactly right. Especially when you're spending a lot of money, you really want to know your numbers then to make sure that you're getting a
return on investment, right? Yeah.
So to speak.
Yeah, because that's definitely and it's obviously stretched over a period of time, but that's a large bill come the end of the year when you look back at it, And
oh yeah, and the good thing about that bill though is it is 100% tax deductible. So I mean,
right.
If you look at it from a tax standpoint, it's basically money that you're not going to be paying taxes on. But if somebody's strapped for cash and they're a new dentist, then that's money that they're not having to spend on their own bills or their own things such as that.
Right. So, all right. Yep, just trying to figure out, some scripts and things like that, some templates to kind of provide some of these front desk, ladies and mostly ladies, but to.
Well, I think there has to be I think one of the most things there has to be accountability, so that the front desk knows that just like dentists, we're graded on everything we do. We have to take board examinations, and then we have to be proficient at what we do. And most of the time, the office staff are not accountable at all,
right?
Unless they do something egregious and they get fired. So it kind of keeps the front office on their toes, because meaning that at any time there could be a random phone call, and they're actually getting a grade for that phone call. And it's basically it's a 0 to 5 star call, and anything under 3 stars is considered to be a failure. So, and then that's the whole office. The whole office knows that. So you can dial into into the portal, and you can hear the phone call, and then you can hear the mistakes or the great call that was made, and then you hear the critique afterwards, and then you find out that. So everybody in the office instantaneously knows how they do. And I think that's good, because it basically prevents you from having a staff member who acts like at the meeting when you do the training, oh, I'm going to do this, this sounds great, and they're all fired up, but in reality they go right back to their old ways and do the same shit they've been doing for 10 or 15 years, and hope that nobody calls them out on it.
Yep, and we actually incorporate that with some automation from that active campaign that I use. Is we put called the secret shopper, so we'll actually contact the office periodically throughout the campaign, just to see. Or not even so much call, but opt into the funnel and see how long it takes them to contact us, because they've already guaranteed us they'll do it immediately within 15, 20 minutes, whatever the agreement is, or as soon as possible. But, we're able to point out a lot of in-house flaws to the dentist that he might not even realize by doing that.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, because the thing is that if you're a busy dentist, you have no clue what goes on in the front, because you're in the rooms working, and you may set foot in the front office maybe once or twice a day, and that's it.
Yep.
So you're totally at the mercy of assuming that your front office are treating patients kindly and respectfully, and doing everything they can to get them in, to get their treatment done. The other caveat to that is that the front office, what we found is that when we have had bad phone calls where we basically got a 1 or 2 star, it's because the front office person maybe had gone to the bathroom, had gone back to the back for a break, and then someone else came to the front and was going to help out and answer the phone. And it's like, oh my gosh, you listen to these phone calls and they're so awkward because they're like these awkward pauses. They call it the pause of death. When there's no talking on either side and it lasts more than 5 seconds, then you just bomb that person as far as, you know, credibility. If you have that awkward, that 5-second silence.
And it sucks because, you know, that's not every time, and it's just got to be the perfect timing for that to happen. But that just shows how important, you know, you want to have both sides of your staff trained in everything almost.
Well, absolutely. And then also, too, is that you have to train your staff that talk to the public that they always have to be in control of the conversation. They have to be sort of the lead on the conversation and guide the conversation, and never let the patient guide the conversation, because that's when you start getting in these tangents and then, you know, going off on these, you know, these things, and the patient asking all these questions as opposed to just saying, you know what, those are great questions. Our insurance coordinator and Dr. Walker would be happy when you come in to answer all those questions. These are really questions that are outside of my expertise, and thank you for asking these questions. But, you know, these will all be answered when you come in, so that you don't get, like, you know,
the life story. Yeah, the life story of a patient.
Oh my gosh! Like, oh yeah, my mom just had surgery yesterday, and I've been having a lot of issues. I've got a tooth problem, and this all happened. So that winds up getting you totally stuck on the phone, and then there's nothing that you get out of that except for a patient gets frustrated because another patient can't get your office.
Right. Good deal. Yeah, I think that it'll allow me from a standpoint to provide more value to each practice, saying, look, I'm not only looking to do your marketing, but I want to help train the front and back staff to be, you know, incongruent with your vision for your practice, right?
Like absolutely. And the dentist has to take a role in it too, because the dentist has to know what's expected of his staff and know himself what the protocols are, so that he's not completely in the blind, because that way he can actually look at it as well too when he does come to the front desk and be able to observe that the right protocols are being initiated.
Right. All right. Well, yep, I don't have a whole lot for you on this one, Mr. Ash. I think you lined me up good.
Like I said, hopefully that helped.
Yes.
And like I said, you know, just basically what that initial phone call, and that's kind of how we started. Was the very first thing we did was get the phone right. Meaning that the very first thing before you do anything else to fix an office is you got to fix the front desk. You got to fix whoever is answering the phone. Is the very first thing, and then from there you start incorporating all the other, you know, efficiencies and practice building techniques to get the practice, you know, onto that higher echelon. But that first phone call though is the very first thing that you do. And a lot of times the staff can get frustrated because they're going like, well, why is all this time being spent on the front desk? Why are not the hygienists getting, you know, the protocols and the assistance? But that's the whole thing, is that you have to let the offices know that this is like building a house. We got to put the foundation in first. We got to dig our footings, and then we're going to build that house on top of good footings.
Right, and then I mean you got to figure also your front desk. These are the first point of contact with these potential new customers. So I mean the way that you're going to portray yourself on that conversation essentially is going to dictate the way that they're going to view that practice.
Right, and the thing is, the person answering that phone, you want that literally to be your rock star. You want that to be, you know, your employee that's got that bubbly personality that literally lights up when the patient comes in, smiles, has the friendly, warm-hearted, open arms, you know, friendly to everybody, very charismatic, as opposed to the person who's dull, the person who's real rigid, or the person who is a person that's primarily into computers. So I had that. I had a girl who graduated like top in her class from a college where we live and did really well, had all these computer skills, and she was proficient at Microsoft Word, Excel. But when we started listening to her on the phone with patients, she was so dry.
Right.
And she was so just like
monotone.
There was no inflection or voice. And Sure enough, when this is when we first started using the Scheduling Institute, and it was like we gave this girl 5 times to even make. She never even made above 1 star with a phone call, and I think I think she knew that before we terminated her that was not her. That was not a job for her. And I think for her, she does something totally different now. She actually works in marketing, and so I think she's excelled in that, and she moved to Florida, but. The thing is she was not right for that position.
Yeah, just some people. Hey, it's not for everybody.
Right. I think that's the big thing too is making sure that your person that you got in that position first is basically has the personality that they have to be able to be good in that position and be able to promote your practice.
Right. Yeah, I like what you said too about take everything, putting the mat at the back door, because no matter the feelings that you have that day or whatever, you got to understand, you're here to represent this business and
well, and also too, patients are coming to your office and they are paying you to treat them, and they do not want to hear your personal problems. If they don't care if you've had a bad day. They don't care if you're having marital problems. They don't care if you have a bad kid. They're there because they want to get, and it's the way it should be.
Yep.
They're there to get a service not to have to hear somebody bitching and griping and moaning about their own lives.
That's right.
And that's what I found over the 20 years of doing dentistry is that I've always had an employee in my practice prior to going through this training that was like that. That constantly came in and tried to bring everybody down and the person always had marital problems. They always had financial problems. They always had something going on, and they made sure the entire staff knew about it, and probably a lot of the patients.
Right. Yeah.
And you got to get rid of those kind of people. You just can't have them in your practice if you want to get above mediocrity or a low performing dental office.
Yeah, I'm sure looking back at it now, that you've realized, all right, this was what I had with her, and now without her, how much more exponentially we've been able to grow and more.
Oh my gosh! Now that we've got, I can't tell you how many, because I see the reviews all the time. I can't tell you since we have now consistently have top-notch people at our front desk that are properly trained and certified. It's night and day for just the compliments and when I'm out in the public or when we get our reviews, we get it over and over again. Like, office so professional, so nice. Answered all of my questions, everything. It was an unparalleled experience. Never gone through anything like this before. And as far as doing the customer satisfaction, and that's all totally on getting the right person in that spot.
Now, what do you do about acquiring those reviews after the visit? Is there
Okay, so what we do is we have a company that sends out text messages, and then they are asked to. Now, I just signed a contract with another company because right now they don't automatically go onto Google or Healthgrades. They're actually
I remember you telling me this
directly to me, or they're coming back to our office, and then we have to manually upload them. So we've got several hundred reviews on our website of our patients, like I said, that we've seen in the last year and a half, but they don't go onto Google and things like that, which is really where you want them because that's where the mass majority of people that have never been to your office, that's where they're looking is Google. So the company I have now, it's called Positive is the name of it, and what they do is what will happen is they'll send out a text to every single patient each day that comes to your office, and it's going to have, hey, we're, blah, 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 we are conducting looking at your experience with Walker Dental Group, and they give them, the first thing that happens is they give them a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Yep.
So if it's a thumbs up, then that's automatically going to trigger the computer program to write a review and it'll have a big thing where it says you're about to write a review, and please, we enjoy referrals and happy customers, and then you write that review directly into Google Reviews.
Gotcha.
And then if it's a thumbs down, then that's going to come directly to your office so that your staff can kind of dissect what happened, why the person was unhappy, and then if there's anything that can be done to bring them back into practice or to make them happy. And usually a lot of times if a patient's unhappy, it's usually due to 2 things: money, or they don't, the 2 main things are money or not being seen in a timely manner. And that's another thing that they teach immediately is that you got to be on time for your patients. If you say that patient has a 1 o'clock appointment, then you better get them back in the room at 1 o'clock and not a minute afterwards. And the same thing for the patients. They have to be taught that they can't come in 10 or 15 minutes late either, because that's your time is as valuable as their time.
Yep, correct. All right, good deal. Well, thank you today, Dr. Ash. Again, man, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll keep in touch.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, good afternoon.
You too.